Welcome back, everybody. The Kings on deck. Oh man, what a wild weekend this was for Miami Hurricanes baseball. We got a lot to go over in a short amount of time, but we do have a special guest today, which we're really excited to bring on. He's got some of his hooligan roommates in the back too that we'll tell him to bring them on so we can talk trash to them a little bit. But no, honestly speaking, I'm really excited to bring him back on. He is a friend of the program.
I mean, a multiple guests is definitely a friend of the show at this point.
Honestly, he's like family at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've watched an inordinate amount of baseball with this family this year, so yes, that's definitely true.
But we love the kid. Let's bring him on.
For sure.
Jackson Cleveland joins us on the show here today. There he is.
So it again.
What's going on, big guy? Good to have you on, man.
Much, just happy to be here.
Good, man. Good. Listen, we want to start off with this past weekend as you guys faced rival Florida State, number 5 in the country. You know, one of the top programs in all of college baseball. You know, a lot of people are going to have a lot of different opinions about this weekend's series. As you took one game, you took 1 out of 3. But I'll tell you what, I think that this weekend showed me a lot more than I had anticipated out of you all as a ball club. And I've always been very honest with you guys, and I'll always continue it. I think that I was thoroughly impressed, not necessarily with game one. Game one was a total catastrophe, if you ask me. But aside from that, I feel like you guys battled back. You guys showed a little bit of want, I guess you could say, in the last 2 games. You battled through the first game. The second game, I thought we had an opportunity to be able to hang on to that one as well, and we kind of let it slip away a little bit. But truth of the matter is, I think you guys really fought hard the whole weekend. Well, let's go back and let's say Friday, Saturday, and look, I think this team is on the cusp, on the precipice. I know, Vish, you spoke about it also. Is like we're kind of this close to being that elite team that we need to be. So before we even talk about anything else, what was your experience like, first of all, facing a rival Florida State? You had a pretty good outing, man. You kind of came back strong this weekend, had a really good outing. So we were happy to see that as well from your perspective, from a personal perspective. But as the team as a whole, how are they feeling after this weekend? How are they feeling during the series? What's your take on what's going on over there on campus right now?
Okay, so I guess to start off with, the series definitely lived up to its hype. It's definitely intense. It's definitely a lot different compared to seeing it on YouTube like I have before, and then actually being there. It's completely different feelings, to say the least. It's very exciting, especially getting to play against one of the best teams in the nation and competing with them every pitch, every inning. But thank you for I thought I had a pretty good outing and did my job, but I think overall we just kind of been one pitch, one at bat, and one inning short. Just each game we kind of lost it up to this point, where we've just been one thing away from really getting things to click.
Yeah, Vish, I want to kind of hand it off to you to ask Jackson a question, but I'll kind of go off by saying the most important thing is, and we had a lot of these conversations with some of the people that we know that are not only close to the program, but scout the teams and do this a lot. And I think it's a matter of execution first and foremost. I think that right now you're at a point because first of all, the point of the season is going to be could potentially be the toughest point of the season that you're going through right now, right? Wake Forest, FSU. Now you're going to UNC. All really tough matchups. The ACC is a tough conference in and of itself, but right now you're at a point where execution is so important. You got to execute. You can't make the dumb mistakes that don't show up on the scoreboard as an error, right? Maybe a drop ball here, or missing the cutoff man here, or throwing to the wrong base here, or not putting the tag on, or letting a ground ball that's considered a hit, but not because it went under your leg. I mean, there's so many different things, right, that can cause you to go from giving up 1 run to giving up 6 runs in an inning. Because we all know how baseball is. The wheels fall off, right? So for me, it was about execution. How do you feel that, and then I'll toss it over to you, Vish. How do you guys feel you executed the whole weekend, per se? I know the first game was tough to say, but from then on out.
I think from then on out, the point with execute what we needed to do. Just one hiccup here or there really kind of shifted the momentum the other way, especially that second game. But I know, for instance, that we can easily come back as long as we keep that energy that we know we have in the dugout, especially to keep us in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you got, Vish?
Yeah, so you mentioned the energy in the dugout and kind of the feeling around the team. So how difficult is it to keep going? Because I mean, I personally, and I'll clean up some of what CCH is saying in the chat here, but feel like the team's playing better than probably the record is at this point. How hard is that to stay focused and know you're doing things mostly correctly? If you keep kind of pushing the rock up the hill, eventually it'll go over the top.
I would say it's a game of failure, but if you're able to understand that, especially as a team, that hey, if we can come back, we've shown that we can come back too and compete in these games, and we keep competing, we're gonna get the things that fall our way, and things will start going our way the more we keep pushing for it.
Jackson, did you face Miles Bailey, big lefty at first baseman? Do you remember?
I don't think so. I
don't think he did.
Us 3 away or 2 batters away, something like that.
Okay. And the reason I bring that up is because I feel like me and Vish know everything about this damn team. Like he called the Derek Williams home run. He called it. He said Derek's gonna hit one out right here, right now. And I'm like, it's a 2-0 pitch. The guy's he's gonna just groove one right over the middle of the plate. He's like, yeah, he's gonna boom, and he did it, right? So it's like, all right. So pitching wise, because I'm looking at pitching, I'm saying, bottom line is right. This team has given up a lot of home runs. Why? Why is this team giving up so many home runs? And to me, it's very simple. It's the easiest thing from a pitcher's perspective. You keep the ball down, you throw first pitch strikes, you get ahead of hitters, right? It sounds so simple.
Yes, it does.
And then and you don't give up that many hits, home runs, whatever you want to call it, right? So we're looking at this and we're seeing that first time Friday night, Griff got into some trouble, but he got out of it. And every time that he got out of it, or every time for instance, when you came up to you get strong. For me, you get stronger as the inning goes, as the game goes, right? So I figured, he gave up that one base hit, and then it was just like, I'm grooving now. Now he struck out the next couple batters. You're using your off-speed pitches to set everything else up. Like, it looks good. You're keeping the ball down. Keep the damn ball down, right? But you notice that some of these guys are doing that now. Is maybe the best way to say it is Laz and JD, are they kind of telling you guys this on a constant basis, reiterating, you keep the ball down, you throw first pitch strikes, the percentages, the analysis says this is what's going to happen. If you leave the ball up, then this is what's going to happen. Are you guys kind of like practicing that a lot, working on that a lot? Is that something that makes sense to you? Am I kind of on the right page there with that?
Yes, you're exactly on the point that we've been constantly reiterating this point, especially up to this point of the season, because we either too much or we just try to make that extra pitch that much more instead of just trusting what we've done up to this point. And in most cases, it's kind of bit us back in the butt. But for the most part, whenever we don't try to force it and we just trust it more than anything and be confident in our pitches, we're able to put them away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important to, a Vish, and you kind of call this sometimes. And you say, well, that's a good pitch, even though it's off the plate or on the ground. It's a competitive pitch. When you start making pitches that are not competitive, that's when you start getting yourself in trouble, because then you got to find your groove to get around the plate again. So I think that you guys have done a better job at that. The bullpen showed me something. They showed me something this weekend, because we were getting worried there that the bullpen, for the job, obviously speaking, the job that Griffin was doing, I know we're struggling a little bit with some other guys, but I think you guys held it down. Game 2 and Game 3 was actually a really good job. I think you had one bad inning, and that's in that last game. That's where the kind of wheels fell off a little bit, but you kind of came back and the bullpen did its thing. So what's next? What do you now moving into North Carolina, right? You've got an opportunity to go in there, and I'm every bit as confident that you can take the series. You might play well enough to take all 3, but again, it's going to come down to execution. I think you're good enough. I think the team is good enough to do that. what is your mentality going now? Well, obviously you got Stetson tomorrow, right, or the next day? Tomorrow? No, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay, so you got Stetson on Wednesday, and then you've got your another ACC matchup this weekend. What is your mentality going into this matchup now, after after this dogfight with FSU these last couple of games?
Kind of just keep showing up and doing what we need to do day in, day out to do what we just compete every inning, every pitch. And if we can do that, we'll be able to end up showing the record otherwise.
Bish, I like Jackson to get more inning. I mean, we spoke about it at a little bit, and Bish, maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about um, just the bullpen as a whole. Is it starting to shape up where you guys are starting to have an idea as to what your role is going to be for the rest of the season?
I mean, as of right now, I guess we're still trying to figure out little bits and pieces here of like who we think should put in for like these kind of things. And so with moving some things around, where I think we're slowly figuring out what we need to, especially as a pitching staff, what we need to win.
Yeah. How many innings are you comfortable throwing in any given game? Would you say right now?
Right now, 5, 6, if I need to.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As you kind of said before, the more I go, the better it gets, kind of thing.
Right. Although I did feel like we spoke about this, Vish, right? I think JD did a good job, and Laz did a good job of, you threw those like 2 1/3, I think it was against.
I think it was 1 1 1/3. I think
1 1/3.
He got out of the jam and then had to get 4 outs because of an error, but got the 4 outs in the next inning. So
that's right. That's stupid error. Anyways, okay.
He picked up his defense.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of managing you guys that stretch there. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to you kind of getting some more innings. I think that you find yourself in a position where you're not pressured. I mean, it's always a pressure position, pressure spot, but you're in a position now where you can kind of get in a groove, and I think that that's important for you, for the staff in general. If you want to have success moving forward in the ACC and the rest of the season, I think that's going to be important. So, yeah, we're looking forward to UNC being a good one. Vish, you got anything for anything else for Jacksonville?
Yeah. There is one question. I mean, there's a lot of commentary in the chat, but one question: how impressed have you been with the freshmen here? You've obviously, you've gone community college, JUCO, and then you've gone to Lamar, which for those that aren't aware is a really strong program in Texas. So you've kind of seen a lot of different, types of pitching. How impressed are you with kind of Kane's freshmen?
Oh, very, very pleased, and they've definitely exceeded my expectations, especially from both kind of freshmen I've seen from JUCO and also my last school. But they definitely have stepped up to help us do what we need to do for the most part.
And I guess a couple of other questions. So how hard is it now? Like, because you're kind of right in the middle of the season, and you mentioned, the coaches are coaching you to keep the ball down. Certain things, giving you, you're trying to make adjustments. How hard is it to do that in the middle of the season when you're trying to limit how much you throw? You can't go out there and like really have a long session because you might have to pitch the next day. Especially these games are so much on top of each other this time of year. Sometimes you have 2 midweek games, 3. You played 5 times a week. You can't throw that much outside of the games. How hard is it to make those adjustments?
It is definitely, I'd say, pretty hard, especially since it's kind of like our duty to pitch the ball where we need it to in order to execute. So, but I feel like as our staff individually, we've been pretty good with trying to adapt to what we need to do in order to get us through games.
Very good. Very good. This weekend, UNC, you got Stetson coming up too. I mean, maybe we see Jackson throw 5 or 6 innings. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just going to throw it out there. Whatever.
Well, actually, just real quick before we let you go, Jackson, thanks for joining us. But so you've got to pitch in Winston-Salem. That's definitely an interesting ballpark. I don't know if people know that like the outfield like slopes up. It's a very odd environment. You've been to Gainesville, and now you get to go to Chapel Hill, which is another great baseball environment. How exciting! Again, you came from Texas, so these are probably a lot of new venues for you over here in the Atlantic Coast Conference. How exciting has it been to kind of pitch at Wake, at Florida, now at Chapel Hill, and get to see kind of all these different college baseball places?
It's definitely lived up to the hype, like each stadium being its own kind of like challenge, to say the least. But it's very fun. It's very fun to pitch in front of these other crowds and being able to compete against them. And I think it's really fun. It's kind of being like for being a mid-major, especially where you go to the big schools on the midweek and you don't really play them during the like weekend. So you only see them for like a day usually. So like actually getting to play a whole series against them is really nice and really fun to play in.
Very cool. I mean, he's a Houston boy too. You got opening day coming up. You're an Astros fan from what I hear, right? The family's Astros family.
Yes.
Oh God, how does that feel?
I kind of just take the brute force of all the haters from the team as usual, but it's fun. It's fun to say, especially seeing some of our prospects starting to show up, and like Cam Smith, for instance, him playing really well. So it's really good.
Oh, Cam Smith, that's right, former Florida State guy. I know, but deep down inside, you really don't want to see him do so well, right?
It's like
I love it, man. You know, we love the family. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, sister, girlfriend, brother, nephew.
2 brothers.
Yes.
Wow, Jazz froze up. He was so incorrect. He froze up there. Anyway, we should like totally screenshot his face frozen there. But yeah, no, we did have the opportunity to meet you. He's back. He's back now. He's back. He's back.
Grandma is the best, bro.
Oh yeah, we met Grandma as well. Yeah, so we met quite a bit of your family. They're awesome people.
We did. So shout out to Grandma Cleveland. She's the best.
Yes.
We always send her good vibes and love over there too, man. Definitely screenshot Jazz. Why did I come out looking like a buffoon or something?
No, you froze. I don't think you don't even know you froze. Jackson,
no, you guys froze for me. So
Jackson and I have a side conversation about you froze with your mouth open. It was something.
There you go. Yeah, bet it was. My goodness. Last question for him. Who are his roommates? Where's Max? Is Max back there? Get Max.
Try and find him. See if they'd be down real quick. Hold on.
Oh wow. Okay, we're doing live show prep here as it's keeping with our brand, so that's good.
This is how we do, baby. This is how we do.
Anyway, so we might get Max Galvin in here now. We'll see. That is one of his roommates to answer CCH's questions.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell him something too.
I know that's not what we meant either.
That's not what we meant either. What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? I don't know. We were just gonna.
Both are on their little side quest, so I have no clue where they are. They're wondering.
That's all right.
I kind of know what that means, but all right, cool.
If they're awesome, just send them back my way. They'll be able to get back home then.
So tell Max that he needs to start hitting more dingers. That's number 1. All right, he's got to go yard a little bit more. You know, he's got to cover Cuvée because Cuvée has some wacky at bats sometimes that I want to throw something at him, but that's just a passion in me, and I tell Vish all the time. But look, I think that this lineup is working out really well too. You got Fabs up in the 2-hole, which I really like. I think that him coming in and doing that and moving down Dorian so he can get some more pitches to hit in the bottom of the lineup, I think is an interesting matchup. I think Degody at shortstop looks good, of course. It's funny because the first thing I said after Degody when his first at bat when he struck out, a guy was throwing like 95. I was like, oof. I don't know if he's ready for this, right? And then the second at bat, he hit it over the scoreboard. I'm like, okay, well, he's ready for it. So, I like what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work, man. Continue to work hard. Continue to keep the ball down, for the love of God, please. Hey
man, it's coming off a good outing. Leave him alone.
Yeah, no, I know. I told your mom.
I was so mad when they took you out of the game. I'll be honest. I was so upset. I was like, "What are you doing?"
He was. But I told your mom I was always going to bust your chops no matter what, whether you did good.
That is true. I will do the opposite. So
she gave me permission. So but I think you did a great job. Continue to build off of that. You and the bullpen hold it down because you're going to need to. So. Keep up the good work, man. I hope you guys kick ass this weekend at UNC. So we appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jackson.
We'll see you around, buddy. Take care.
See you.
All right.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to clear out of the comments here.
We would love for Jackson to come on so we can find out how much.
Yeah, we're not asking him that question. So,
are you out of your mind? Oh,
you don't get the man's financials, dude. All right, that's that's basic courtesy. We're not doing that. We're not asking that question.
What's the matter with you?
We're not asking that question.
I will tell you this: is obviously there's certain things we don't, we're not going to discuss with him and stuff like that. But
I mean, we're live on the air now, so he could obviously just watch it anyway.
Yeah.
But
which is fine. Or we're not going to ask him this, but the thought of him coming in and potentially getting some work as a starter, whether it's midweek or towards the back end of the week, the weekend, is not something I'd be opposed to right now. You got some guys that are struggling right now that are starters, right? Particularly Nick Robert and Andrew Walters. So, I mean,
yeah, and I mean, we're gonna dig in now a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
CCH said we can't talk because Jackson's there. First of all, this is all going out on YouTube, so the whole team can watch it if they want.
Yeah.
We're not gonna ask him.
I mean, but was I fake about anything that I spoke about?
No, but I mean, we're going to be appropriate, and
there's certain things we can't talk about with him, anyways, right? There's
there's certain things he should talk about with us also.
Exactly.
So, but I mean, look, let's start with the pitching, right? We do have I would say a starting pitching issue now at this point. I think we can call it that. Started off really strong to begin the year, but now, Griff is the only one that's really pitching well. And right now, we don't really we haven't been getting 5 innings out of Robert or Walter, so it's hard to win weekend series against really good teams when you're not getting more than 3 or 4 innings out of your starters. So what would you do? I mean, this is CCH earlier said if he's throwing 6 innings. I think you that means our starter got absolutely no. I think you were talking about starting him.
Yeah. I was talking about
actually just handing him the ball at the beginning, not bringing him in to go 6 innings.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an option. I think we have to we have to shuffle and I'm not talking about just moving Hughes to Fridays. I mean, I think
you got to do more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just moving the stars around is not enough, and we haven't really gotten anything out of our midweek starters that leads me to believe they're ready to start on the weekend. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is. Everything's been a little bit inconsistent.
Well, by the way, shout out to ACC Players of the Week for Miami.
Yeah, freshman Fabio Peralta and Mikey Fernandez.
Who had an excellent outing as well.
Yeah, he came in after. So yeah, he gave up the 1 solo home run. That's it over multiple innings, and as we said, Jackson didn't allow a run. So between the two of them, they kind of kept us in that game on Saturday. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get the runs to come all the way back, but did make a little bit of a comeback, and they kept it there. I mean, at that point, what was that, like a 7 spot in 1 inning? Allowed 1 run over the last 5 or 6 innings. So that was, you can't ask for more out of your bullpen.
I think that was a strong bullpen. I mean, Ciscar did his thing. Lachi did his thing as well by coming in and looking good also. So, yeah, if these guys start continuing to shape up and do well, then I'm comfortable with that bullpen now more than I am with the starting.
Yeah, I mean, but this is so there's been a couple of issues, right? One is we haven't really had anyone that's been consistently strong out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Actually, Jackson's been one of the stronger ones. He's just been put in situations where if he gives up a run, it's he was closing. So you're in a 1-run game, you give up a run, you've blown the save. When that's actually probably a little bit better than what some of our other relievers have been doing. But like Darius had an ERA of 0 coming in, got shelled as part of that Thursday bloodbath.
One inning he gave up 3.
Will Smith had been doing really well. We ended up having to pull him. He couldn't get the save on Friday.
Right.
Giroux came in and closed it. Giroux had struggled coming into that, but did well there. So and that's why, what I said to you and what I put out on Twitter is like, we're very close to being a really good team. And it's just like, can it all click together? Because it's very, Ciscar pitched well too, but it's so inconsistent. And part of it's definitely, the players have responsibility with the coaches too, to put them in consistent situations because they haven't done that at all. It's one day this is your role, the next day this is some other role that you're doing. I mean, every time they go at least we from watching it, and we definitely watched it to the point, like you said, where Derek came out to bat and I was like, he's gonna hit a home run. You didn't tell Jackson this, but you were predicting the number of pitches that the opposing team was gonna throw in an inning and getting it exactly right. There'll be 9 pitches, 9 pitch hit into a double play. So I mean, we're pretty locked in on this team, and it's hard for us to figure out, okay, the situation's coming up. Who's he going to bring in from the bullpen? We don't know. Because it has been a little bit of, we've lacked some, role definition. Even Jackson's like, yeah, we're still trying to figure that out a little bit. Part of that's obviously the opposition you're playing. Like, this is just a murderous row to start. At Florida, at Wake, FSU, and now at UNC is brutal.
It's funny though that CCH is speaking some truths on. He's on a little bit of a roll with some of the things that he's saying. I wouldn't necessarily think of Siskar right now as a starter, or maybe even Lachi. To be honest with you, I think that right now you're gonna have some sort of consistency, some sort of. Then you lose then you lose some of your top arms in the bullpen, right? Like, I like Darius as a potential starter. I know he got shelled that one inning, but I still like his stuff. I still think he has an opportunity to be good. And look, there's plenty of freshmen throughout the country that are in top 25 programs that are starting on Saturdays and Sundays for some of these teams. I like the thought of Jackson getting the nod as one of the starters as well, because of his ability to get stronger and get better as the innings go. So I think that it's important that, honestly, if I was Laz or JD, I'd take a long look at what I can shake up in that staff to kind of get things going again. At least try something, right? Right now you're in a position where it can't hurt to try to make some sort of change, to try to shake things up a little bit, right? Like, we know that I think there's a possibility that Hughes is going to be your Friday guy against UNC. We have not heard anything about that.
Didn't hear anything about that.
But would it surprise me? No. However, at the same time, we've spoken about this, Vish. I truly believe that Robert and Walters are bullpen guys, and I think they're back end guys. I think for an inning or two of pure dominance, throwing 94 to 96, or even Walters, who was up to 97.
Yeah, he was definitely.
Is someone that, maybe you're not seeing that during the whole game, and then he comes in and shuts the door at the end, right? A la his brother, right? Kind of like what his brother did. His brother was 94 to 96. Maybe he would throw 98 miles an hour every once in a while and blow right by guys. And that's what you need, just a guy that's going to come in and be a fireballer and do that. I think that those two guys are best suited in the bullpen, but I think you're starting to see that now because you're seeing the emergence of some of the guys in the bullpen that maybe could go a little bit longer. Even a guy like Mikey Fernandez, yes. Jackson, Tate Darius, some of those guys. Siskar, I know, went two innings and then kind of fell apart a little bit at the end of that third inning. So he has an opportunity, but you don't want to lose all your arms in the bullpen either. So you want to make sure that you have enough arms back there. Giroux, he makes a good point about Giroux. He doesn't walk anybody. He doesn't throw hard, but he doesn't walk anybody. So he throws strikes. And what have I said about that? You throw strikes, you get people out. Bottom line. I don't care if you throw 84 or 104. So, he's an opportunity to come in the bullpen and be one of your back-end guys that can get people out too. So, Vish, you were impressed with Jake Dorn a little bit, right? With how he threw as a lefty, if I'm not mistaken. I know that he's one of the lefties that we haven't used much of yet.
Yeah, it was interesting because he pitched so well against Wake that we didn't see him at all this weekend. Don't know what that was. Yeah, I would like to see Jackson starting because I think he's a little bit more mature mentally and will not just completely implode, which means he can eat innings and get to, like you said, get to the bullpen. Which now, if you have, Nick and Brian back there,
right?
Then you have those opportunities to again, if you have those two guys solidly holding the back of your bullpen, then you're playing like a 7-inning game instead of a 9-inning game, and so then you can start, strategically using some of your better bullpen arms like Will Smith too earlier and Bridge, and so I think it makes sense to do that. So I think there's opportunities there. I mean, you can say he's got destroyed in the fall. Well, we put him in against Wake and he shut them down, and that's the last we've seen of him. So I think certainly the Thursday game
That's
The
exactly
Thursday
what
game, yeah, I think the Thursday game was probably an opportunity when we were getting shelled to give him some innings. But yeah, no, I think you got to mix something up here. Be interesting to see who starts tomorrow on Wednesday, if that's kind of a little bit of a sign of some shakeup. But yeah, I think, but Hugh gets starting on Friday. I think is almost 100% guarantee. He's clearly the most consistent, best starter we have, and last week you couldn't make a switch because it was a short week because we had that Thursday, Saturday series. So he pitched on Friday, so he gets he can go on normal rest now and be the Friday starter this week, which is what I fully expect to happen. After that, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. I think we do need to mix things up, and I think we need to really start making some heavy strides towards defining people's roles and kind of going with it. It's getting too late in the season to be moving everyone around and kind of not having them comfortable in terms of what their role is on the pitching stuff.
Yeah, I don't. But who? John Enriquez was talking about Todd Hudson. He was actually on deck.
Yeah. He almost batted on. So he's not MIA. He's with the team. He's just hasn't. So what has happened there is Renzo kind of took over a little bit at first base, but then it looks like now when we have lefties, Degodi will play short and Ogden will be at first. So he kind of lost his spot a little bit.
You might see,
but I wouldn't be surprised, because Renzo's kind of in a slump if we see Todd back in there against righties this weekend, or maybe in the midweek, because he had the option of going to Renzo to pinch hit, and he went to Todd instead. So again, his turn never came around, so he didn't get to bat there. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if the next time there's a righty, we see Todd starting at first.
Let me ask you a question, right? I'm going to flip the script on you. We're going to talk a little bit about offense right now. First game was obviously horrendous. We faced a buzzsaw and that kid, Bellini. But game 2 and game 3, we kind of, put some runs on the board, put 9 in one, 6 in the other. We're able to score some runs and do some damage with the bats. However, I'm still seeing a lot of just guys having terrible at bats. Guys going up there and the perfect example is Daniel Cavey.
Your pet peeve.
It's my pet peeve because he swings at stuff that I've never seen. I don't want to say I've never seen a really good hitter swing at, but there's times where he lacks complete and total discipline at the plate, and they turn into terrible at bats, which means it's one of those it's a terrible at bat. So it's a wasted opportunity to do anything, and I think that he needs to get better with his approach and with his discipline at the plate, because it's going to cost him opportunities to put some runs on the board, and then you've got to rely too much on guys like Max before him, Max after him, Fabio before him. Who shout out to Fabio Peralta, who had a monster weekend, looking great. Yes, looks great in that 2-hole. Can play the outfield just as good as about anybody. And I called for him to play earlier, but anyways, yeah, I think that right now he's getting lucky because he's gotten some protection a little bit, and he's gotten some clutch base hits, but his approach at the plate is terrible right now. I think he would tell you the same thing, but at the end of the day, you got to do something about it, man. You can't go up there and continue with this approach time in and time out. You've got some other guys that have some pretty crappy approaches at the plate sometimes. But to me, he's the one that stands out the most because he should be the best player on this team, right? And right now he's not even the best hitter on the team, that's for sure. But he's still got an opportunity because he's that good that he touches the ball and the ball takes off of his bat. So he's just got to find a rhythm. He's got to get coached up a little bit better. but he's got to have that mindset as well that when you come up to the plate and the guy and the pitcher before you just walk the guy, maybe on 4 straight pitches, and then he throws you a curveball low and away outside of the zone, and you swing at it on your first pitch. That's not a smart swing. That's not a smart approach. That's a dumb approach, right? So those are the type of things that he needs to fix and correct. I can be here all day talking about all his at bats and how shitty they look, but the bottom line is that if he starts to uh, come up to the plate with a better approach and a better thought process, he could be dangerous because people are not gonna. Here's the thing: people don't want to pitch to him, so he's chasing stuff because he's desperate. He's pressing, and so that's what's happening with him. And then when people challenge him, they challenge him up and in, and he's going to swing right through it because he's chasing all this other garbage. So once you start doing less of one, they're going to hone in on trying to find some strikes and trying to get you out that way because there's only so many times that they can walk you or throw around you. You're going to have to get up there and swing the bat a little bit and swing it the right way. The approach is terrible. He needs to figure it out. How do you feel?
Yeah, shout out to Evan.
Oh, what up, man? What up?
And just real quick on this, I would say similar to pitching, it's inconsistent. We gave up 14 runs and got mercy ruled on Thursday, but we also only scored 1 run on a Peralta solo home run, had 2 hits. So that's not good enough. Certainly the second game against Wake Forest, you allow 4 runs in the 9 regulation innings. You should win, didn't score enough. So it's been all over the place too, and part of what Jazz outlined.
I think
it's way too inconsistent. It's if you score 1 run on 2 hits, that's not good enough, right? So you automatically have lost a game. We need to make up ground here. They got to be more consistent. Even in the midweek, 5 runs on FAU is okay. I think they got to be much more consistent. That's plate approach, like you said, just very inconsistent in some good at bats. The next time they come up there and look like they never played baseball before. Just we don't consistently work pitchers and kind of get them to throw a lot of pitches, which is problematic because that's a team effort. You got to do one good at bat is not going to do that. It's got to be all 9 guys kind of working the count, working the pitchers. We're not really doing that, and so it's a lot on. Yeah. I know we're not built to hit home runs. I'm not asking to hit home runs. I'm asking to work counts, get on base, and make the guy throw a lot of pitches. And we don't do that consistently enough. And that's why we have these complete no-show offensive performances as well. So it's been a combination of things. I would say that the hitting's probably closer than the pitching, but it's not that far of a gap. Right now, it's just you don't know what's going to show up every game. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah, just a little bit more consistency, I think, will be.
Yeah, no, I mean they need to score.
Lineups are much better than others.
Well, they need to score at least 5 or 6 runs a game. Period. Yeah. You're not going to win not doing that. So when they score 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs, that's just not enough.
William, don't give up yet, man. I like that.
There's not. I mean, you shouldn't give up because again, we're going through the toughest part of our schedule that continues this weekend. Then it lightens considerably, but we got to make sure we're still breathing at the end of this weekend. So really, not get swept and be 1-8 in conference. That's for damn sure. So
baseball is a game of streaks, also, man. It's a game of.
Yeah, but unless you think I don't think this team has the ability to win like 15 games in a row or something. We need to take some games this weekend. We cannot be 1-8 in conference. We're not going to get back to where we need to be.
Yep, I hear you, man. I hear
you. We did talk about this actually. So good kind of topic. Tavares versus Tanner Smith are kind of platooning there.
We've spoken about it, but not on air. Yeah, I think he's had some good ABs. He's had some good approaches at the plate. I'm not opposed to giving him more opportunities. I think I don't know, something's going on with Tanner Smith. Like even when he throws over to the bag,
he is
throwdowns. I mean,
his defense has been rough, and he's known. I mean, that's what he was known for at Oregon State. So I don't know what's going on here. And so to me, I thought it was a little weird that in the second game he brought Tanner Smith as a defensive replacement, which
it was kind of weird.
Yeah, because I don't think there's much of a gap between the two of them at this point. And then he made that error in the ninth inning that almost lost the game on that dribble in front that should have been the game-ending double play. And he threw it into he hit the FSU runner with it. So I mean, I don't know. I don't. They're both batting very similar numbers at the plate. They're both making mistakes in the field. Sure. This is kind of my general.
He's had more at bats. He's had more at bats.
Yeah, he has. He's played more, but I mean, I honestly, I almost view them as like for like. I don't really see, I don't see much different. I mean, Terrence Smith is doing that too. Everyone is having success stealing. I honestly, we can debate this. I don't. It's almost like flipping a coin to me at this point. They're both kind of similar. They're doing similar things at the plate in the field, at least to me. I'm not really seeing
might have a little more pop. So I mean, if that helps, that's fine. But aside from that, I mean, they're about the same.
Evan's gonna hit up the light unless you picked the one day when Jazz and I aren't gonna be there. I'm in DC and Jazz is traveling. Well, look, this is, for those that don't know, Evan's our F1 co-host who apparently decide to go to the light when we're not there. Usually midweek is pretty cheap. I'm sure I would look it up, but I'm sure CCH will like spit it out before I even get that. Yeah, this was an odd one when Derek tried to steal third and got thrown out. Thought he was safe, but whatever.
Thought he was also, but still, it's still too much of a risk to. You don't want to be the first or the third out at third base.
That did kill an inning.
That did. So aside from that, like he was stealing bases. He had done it before that. Previous year, Peralta did. Somebody stole third base and got and they were able to get away. I don't want to say get away with it, but they were able to get on. So I mean, the last thing I'm going to do is blame Derek Williams for anything. He had another monster weekend. Well, at least good 2 games, 2 out of 3 games.
Yeah, no, he played well.
Played really well. He's hitting the ball really
hard. He has been. Yeah, he has been making. He's one of the ones that is getting good. Like he's getting his money's worth on his at bats.
Yep.
And that's where I say we need more consistency because if all 9 guys were doing that, and I'm not talking about all 9 guys have Derek Williams hitting ability because they don't. I'm talking about working the count. Anyone can work a count, right? You don't have to be able to.
Ogden is doing a good job too.
Yeah. Ogden to Peralta is, and other than that, we're getting some. Again, inconsistent. Like sometimes they'll step up there and really, make the pitcher work, and then the next time they'll chase the first pitch out of the zone and like dribble it back, and you're like, why'd you do that? And especially when we get behind, I feel like they start chasing more and get impatient. And that's why you see these lopsided games sometimes where it gets away from us quickly. This is I think working. Certainly Derek Williams is working. There's stuff to work out everywhere else at this point.
Bobby has his days where he looks like an All-American, and then he goes 2 or 3 games and he disappears. So we need. You mentioned it, consistency. If Bobby Marsh can be more consistent. And Max Galvin can be a little more consistent as well. Man, you got yourself a potential juggernaut of a lineup. And I'm not talking about guys that are going to hit 25 home runs. It's just guys that are going to hit the baseball, score runs, get on base, do everything. I think it could be a really good option. No, we can't, and we won't.
Well,
we can, but we won't.
Should we? I mean, I think we're probably here, CCH. To be honest, I think
we lack infielders.
So
where are you going?
Playing this forward, right? If we're facing a lefty, I mean, I do think you might want to see someone else out there.
No, you know why? Because I've thought about this a lot. And as much as he's had his struggles this season, he's still a vet. He's still a guy that has experience against really good pitching. He's been successful. We saw he doesn't necessarily have terrible at bats. Sometimes he's just a little overly, what's the word I can say? Well, he thinks he's Barry Bonds sometimes, right? So he wants to hit the ball 500 feet. but the kid doesn't strike out a lot. He does work counts pretty well. Puts the ball in play. He's hit some ropes that have hit down right at the outfielder or the infielder, um, lefty or righty. I think he hits them both half decent. He just hasn't on the field. He's had his issues, but at the end of the day, I think that he's the type of guy that um, he's just a veteran. He's been around a long time. You got to let him work through it. Number one. Number two, you're not going to put anybody there at that position that's going to be much better at this point. So why are you gonna? Why? I mean, I wouldn't even mess around with it. I mean, if you had someone on the bench that you knew was going to come in and ball out of control, then maybe you think about it. But what combination are you going to mix up with that's going to be more productive? You can't Todd Hudson at first base and move guys around. Put one at second and one at short. To go the Ogden combo there. You still kind of losing that. You lose a bat with Hudson, who's not hitting the ball well. Renzel, same thing. Puig, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put Puig at one of those positions, or put Puig at first base? Maybe that's an option. But you haven't seen Puig all season hit the ball either. Kulikowski in the outfield and move things around. I mean, there's no. So right now, if I'm thinking about it, thought about it, I think that you got to keep him in there. Let him kind of get through it.
So I have a couple of problems with the way he's
like William said. Put him at the end of the lineup and let him see some pitches and see if he can get better.
So I have a couple of pretty major problems with the way he's playing. One is John Enriquez pointed out, he's booting the ball left and right. He's making a ton of errors for someone that was probably our most consistent fielder over the course of his career until this season.
How many errors does he have this season? I'd like to know that. I know he has. I know he has a few, but I don't know how many.
I mean, his fielding percentage is.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, so
that's not good. And then so that's problematic to me as someone that really, you're mentioning all of the experience, shouldn't be doing that. Second thing, he's just, and actually CCH called this out, hit the ball on the damn ground. This dude is like Willie Mays Hayes in Major League 2, just swinging for the fences, and he's got warning track power. And he has hit some home runs because occasionally he'll really get into one and it'll go. We don't need that from him. And he's over swinging. He's trying to hit everything out of the park, and then it's just all long fly balls. And his batting percentage.
What's the solution?
I think you need to sit him for at least a midweek game, okay. and he's one of the few players that never gets rotated out.
Yeah,
I think he needs to sit for a midweek game, mix it up. If someone else plays well, then he start the weekend. I don't think his performance warrants automatic starting. Anyone else that's been performing it the way he has gotten pulled. Hell, we pulled Derek Williams and made him sit a midweek game. I don't see why we can't do that for Dorian.
I'll tell you what, I can see that the benching him for a midweek game and starting to go to second. Sure.
I don't even know if it's to learn a lesson as much as just to like mental break.
Yeah.
Again, these games are so on top of each other that you don't ever get that chance to take a breath. So I think it might help him, just like it helped Derek miss one of the midweek games against when we played FIU at Marlins Park.
Yeah,
and that's kind of allowed him to reset a little bit. And we know Dorian's a better player. I mean, I think that's the frustrating thing, right? That something needs to kick it in the ass because we know he's a better player. We have 3 years of him playing better than he's playing this year.
Right.
So, I think some kind of something there to just reset him would probably be good for him.
I agree.
I think long term, he's the best second baseman on the team, and we need him to play well. But if he's not playing well, you can't just keep rolling him out there and it's going to get better because it hasn't yet.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll be following this team on Wednesday and then
yeah, big weekend series at Chapel Hill.
That's right. I'm interested to see what they do with the lineup even on Wednesday against Stetson.
Yeah, I think Wednesday will be kind of a tell. We'll see who they start. If it's not Reese, it might be because they're moving him over the weekend. If it's not Reese or Giroux, because I think they like Giroux out of the bullpen now. So I don't think they want to blow him in the midweek. So if it's someone else, might be a pretty big tell that they're making some moves on the weekend rotation.
I agree. We'll see what happens. Keep it locked. We will be on next Monday again. Thank you, Jackson.
Yep.
Cleveland.
Thanks, Jackson Cleveland, for joining us.
Appreciate it. And maybe we'll have something for you next weekend as well after the UNC weekend. I hope.
After they win that big weekend series win on the road, we'll come back on Monday and talk about it.
Let's do it. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Oh.